Hello. It is October 16th. I am pre-recording this training session for the Fall Nourish project, and this is for you to watch the week of October 20th, and it's the second group coaching session. So I am going to launch right into it and share my screen, and we'll get going. This guy. Okay, so group session number 2. So just an overview of the Nourish project before I really get into the specifics for this week is that this fall we are all about nourishing our body, mind, and spirit. And with all the fad diets out there, all the misinformation, all the marketing campaigns that are targeted at women's body insecurities and selling like get skinny quick kind of fixes, or even selling the fact that you should want to get skinny, like that alone it drives me crazy. And it's why I wanted to start this this project, and why I called it the Nourish Project. So really, truly, just taking care of your body, nourishing your spirit can be broken down into 4 very basic things: eating better, moving more, stressing less, and loving deeper. And so those are the 4 things we're going to be digging into this fall. They're basic, but they're really not easy and not simple when we have so much pushing us in the opposite direction. So this group, we're going to be like in the course of just simple, basic, tried and true things that are going to nourish our body. So during these 12 weeks, we're going to learn. I'm a huge believer that knowledge is power. And when you know actually the science behind what you need to do to take care of your body, and why, it will really be powerful in getting you to do the things. And then we're going to take messy action. We're going to implement, we're going to practice until these new habits become so ingrained that they are just automatic, and we can back burner them, not back burner our health, but back burner thinking about these habits, so that we can focus on our other goals, what I call our real life goals, whether it's your business, your career, raising your family, making an impact in the community, all of the above. That's what I want you to be spending your brain energy on. And in order to do that, you need to have the energy, the confidence, the stamina that comes from nourishing your body, eating well, moving, feeling good in your skin, and having the right mindset. Ultimately, my goal for all of you is to create a life of joy, ease, impact, and abundance, all 4 of those things, and not feel like you need to choose one or 2, or choose one over the other. Okay, so let's get into it. So I want to let you know a little preview what's coming. There's a few things that you're going to need as we move into more fully into the Nourish project, and as we move forward. So you're going to need to download the app MyFitnessPal and create an account. And then you can share that with me as your friend. We'll start using that next week. So this is all stuff kind of for next week and going forward. So you can just start getting in your head if you have a little extra time, start thinking about those things. Purchase a food scale. Anything will work. They're relatively cheap. You can find a very good one from like $10 to $20. I'll send you an Amazon link for one that I recommend. It just basically has to have the ability to switch from grams to ounces and back, and almost all of them do. And then also should have on, off, and tear. Tear means set it back to 0. And I'll get a lot into like how to use the food scale, how to incorporate it into your life and your cooking so that it actually is saving you time, not adding time or adding stress to it. But for now, just think about getting one of those if you don't have one already. You should have a home scale so that you can weigh in your body weight. Some of my clients don't don't like to weigh in. They find it sort of triggering. And a lot of that is mindset connected to like a number on the scale, determining your self-worth, determining if you're good or bad. And so I really encourage you to just look at the number on the scale as another data point reflecting sort of what's going on and what we're doing. But if you do have some of those mindset issues, just reach out to me privately. We can talk about it, no problem. You're also probably going to want some Tupperware meal prep containers. You can get them at Target, Amazon, anywhere. And then also, especially if you are working out at home, which most of us are, and I think going into the winter, you know, there's always a possibility we'll go into another lockdown. So even if you do have your gym up and functioning, I want you all to be able to work out at home. So I'm going to send you a link to get a resistance band set and some resistance bands with handles, and also some dumbbells if you can find them. They were almost impossible to find for a while, and now I think that they're a little bit easier to find. But a lot of people have these already in their house, sort of just like getting dusty in a corner. Maybe you've already gotten them out throughout COVID, but this would be a good time to sort of take an inventory, what you have, and then I will send you the links to get the bands and dumbbells that I recommend all on Amazon. The dumbbells, I say at least one set that was maybe like 10 pounds or 10 to 12 pounds. Two set, maybe 15, just depending on your strength and how familiar you are with strength training. If you have two sets, that would be even better, a lighter set and a heavier set. And then I would go with maybe like a 10 and a 20 or a 5 and a 15, but it's all dependent on you. And again, if you have questions about that, what would be best, just reach out to me. For those of you who are in the Twin Cities, I do have, I have a guy who used to have a gym. He closed it when COVID started, and now he is selling dumbbells in person, dumbbells and all kind of home gym equipment. So if you're in the Twin Cities and you're looking to buy something and you want to support a person rather than Amazon, again, let me know and I'll connect you with him. Okay, so moving into our first module, eating better, nutrition. I'm going to go a little bit more depth into macronutrients, micronutrients today, and then go over how to read a nutrition label. And there's something I think you will be surprised about. I was very surprised when I found out. So we went over this a little bit last week, and I just want to reiterate and go a little bit more in depth. Fad diets, restrictive diets, anything with a capital letter that has a name for it, it never works. We're not designed to eat restrictive diets. We're not designed to eliminate an entire macronutrient from our diet. And the way our mind works, if we are restricting something, if we can't have it, we're focused on the thing we can't have, and that becomes our obsession until we just fall off the wagon and have the thing. If you have experienced that before, I'm sure everyone has. I know I have. I tried to eat paleo once for a while, and the only thing I wanted when I was paleo was a bagel, because it was so forefront on my mind. Like I couldn't have it. I was obsessed, and it just did not work out. As opposed to those restrictive diets that say like good foods, bad foods, this is off limits, this is okay. With macronutrients, macro diet is also sometimes referred to as flexible dieting, or if it fits your macros, IIFYM. All of that just refers to macronutrient diet, which means that you are calculating how many of each macronutrient you need according to your goals, and then trying to get that many of each in each macronutrient column. So protein, carbs, and fats are the three critical macronutrients that make up all the food that we eat. There's a secret fourth macro, which I'll go over in just a few minutes, but essentially those three macronutrients make up the entire world of food. So every food item either is squarely in one column, or it's a combination of different macronutrients. And so with macros, what we're going to do through the next 12 weeks is figure out what your body needs. And that is one of the reasons that macros is intimidating to people, is because since it's customized, it takes a little bit of work. And that's the initial investment you're really putting into your health. I'm not going to hand you a meal plan or say, just eat this, don't eat this. I'm going to help you figure out what your body needs. And then it's going to be a little bit of trial and error, because it's like a little bit of an art and a little bit of a science. There's a formula, but it's also based on your goals, your preferences, your lifestyle. So it's going to be a little bit of back and forth kind of figuring that out until we get literally the magic formula. And when you do, it's just going to click, and you should feel full and satisfied. You should be able to lose body fat and build muscle and see a body transformation. That body transformation is going to be more in the measurements and the pictures, which is why I have you take them, than it is on the scale. Because whereas some diets, if you're just like starving yourself, you're going to lose muscle and body fat, and you'll lose a lot of weight, but you'll be that, you could be that like skinny fat, kind of skinny fat look. Whereas people who track their macros tend to build muscle and have that curvy, fit, athletic look that, seems to be popular. It's also much more healthier, which is what I care about. So we'll be strong, toned, fit, and also leaner. So the numbers on the scale might not change that much at first, but that's why we're really going to focus on non-scale victories and also non-scale measurements of progress, such as measurements and progress pictures. Okay, so here's the great thing about the macros. There's so many great things. I'm obsessed with it, obviously. But once we figure out those parameters of what your body needs, then you get to play the Tetris game of how do I want to fill those three pillars. It's completely up to you. And like I said before, if you want to have a donut and get your carbs and your fat that way and egg whites for protein, you can do that. That will fit your macros. If it fits your macros, it's on the diet. However, as we go along, we're going to look for like, what's the best option to fuel my body to hit my goals. And for all of you, I want you to aim for mostly like 80% whole, unprocessed, healthy foods, lean protein, healthy fats, lots of veggies, lots of greens. But then giving yourself that freedom for that other 20%, if you are just craving a donut or craving pizza, or if the family's having pizza and you don't want to be the weirdo eating out of Tupperware, tilapia and broccoli, you have the pizza. Maybe your dinner looks like 1 or 2 slices of pizza with a big salad with some extra chicken breast in it. But you can have the pizza. So it's that sort of flexibility that allows you to create whatever diet works for you, your cravings, your lifestyle, your family, your job, all those things. So we figure out the parameters of what your body needs, and then it's up to you to play the game of filling those pillars with what you want. Nothing is off limits. Nothing is restricted. And it affects your whole mindset too, because instead of saying, I can't, your mindset is, I can have anything I want. How can I make it fit? Maybe you want, I just keep going back to the donut example, but we're having a donut wall at my wedding. So I just talked to the bakery lady about what color sprinkles to put on the donuts. And I'm going to have a donut. Am I going to have 10? No, right? And if I was really like serious about doing a cut or hitting a weight loss goal, I might like check it and say, okay, I'm actually just going to have like a bite of this donut, or I'm going to have half the donut. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but you can have the donut and you can make it fit in your macros. So there's no even words of like bad or guilty or cheating or cheat days. We're eliminating all those words from our vocabulary, because the words you use are really important. Like the words we use determine everything. Okay, so the basic macros, I've went over this before, are protein, carbs, and fat. And the fourth is the mysterious alcohol macro. So we track protein, carbs, and fat. We're not going to track alcohol. And when we get to tracking, I'll teach you how to account for drinking alcohol. But for right now, just know it's sort of a nebulous fourth category. It does have calories. And so we do figure it out, but we don't actually like track the alcohol. So protein, super, super important. I'm going to be preaching protein for the next 11, 12 weeks. It's a building block for living organisms. It builds, repairs, maintains muscle, and is used for almost every metabolic process in your body. It's also amazing because it's filling, it's satiating, which means it's going to fill you up. It's going to taste good. It's going to leave you satisfied, and it's thermogenic. So just this like eating protein period is going to increase your metabolism because your body has to work hard to digest it. So there's 4 calories per gram of protein. Great sources of protein are meat, fish, eggs, egg whites, protein powder. I really recommend that everyone finds a great protein powder or shake that you like. If you need a recommendation, I have some that I love, but if you already have one that you love, that's fantastic. Protein powder comes in whey protein powder, or if you want a vegan source, there's pea protein, brown rice protein, lots of great vegan sources. Especially if you're vegan or vegetarian, you need to be living that protein shake life because it's going to be harder to get enough protein. Yogurt, Greek yogurt is an amazing source of protein, as well as other dairies like fat-free cottage cheese. Or you can do whole fat if you want that. It's just a little more complicated math because you need to allocate for the fat and the protein. And then vegetarian sources of protein, tofu is a good one. Seitan is another one. Beans are not a lot of things that are marketed as a vegan or vegetarian source of protein are not really great sources of protein. So I want you to look at the nutrition label and see how much protein you're actually getting compared to carbs and fat in each of them. And there's no pure vegan source of protein that is like only protein. It's always going to have carbs or fat also. So it's just a little trickier. It's not a problem. You can absolutely check your macros on a vegan or vegetarian diet, but it's just a little bit more complicated because there are not those sources of protein that are just like pure protein, such as like egg whites, shrimp, tilapia, chicken breast that you get if you're eating a meat diet. Okay. Number 2, carbs, everyone's favorite or everyone's favorite to hate. I love carbs. We love carbs. They are delicious. They're our body's preferred source of fuel, and our body craves them. Our body wants them. They're not bad. They're not off limits. They're not the devil. There are 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates, and great sources of carbs are, the things we typically think of as carbs: pasta, bread, tortillas, rice. Starchy vegetables. It's fall, so if you love butternut squash, any kind of squash, all of those are a carb. So don't think of that as like a vegetable. I mean, this is why we're digging into the macros, right? So butternut squash, sweet potato has the same carbs as mashed potatoes or rice. It may have more nutrients. They may taste better. That's getting into the micronutrients, but it's a great source of carbs. All veggies are carbs and have a little bit of protein in them. So, carrots, cucumbers, sugar snap peas, green leafy vegetables, all that kind of stuff. Fruit is a great source of carbs. And then candy, it's Halloween time. That's going to be another source of carbs. So we'll go deeper into sugar, complex carbohydrates, fiber, all that stuff. But for now, just know these are all sources of carbohydrates. And then last but not least, fat. Fat is super popular right now. There's some like fat bomb diets or keto diets that are really like fat intensive. So I'm glad fat got brought out of timeout from the 80s and 90s because it's our body's secondary preferred source of fuel. So it's like the long-term fuel that kicks in once the carbs have run out. It's super important for hormone regulation, vitamin absorption, brain development, nerve function. It's just like vital to all of our needs and to just our body functioning. Whereas so as carbs' primary job is to fuel our body, fat primary job is to kind of keep everything running internally. So there's 9 calories per gram of fat. It's a little higher, denser calories. But sources of fat are fatty meats, dairy, olive oil, coconut, nut butters, avocado, ice cream, mayo, cheese, all kind of deliciousness. Lastly is alcohol, which actually has 7 calories per gram, but when we're tracking it, we're going to track it as either carbs or fat. Okay, so for this week, I still want you, I want you to, I'll get to it, but I want you to start tracking your food. Still being aware what we did last week of pointing out the protein, fiber, fat, and greens in each meal and building meals around that. But for this week, I want you to start tracking actually like what you're eating in a food journal. And I'll get to that a little bit later on the end. So micronutrients, we're going to go way in depth with this later in the course, but super important for healing, recovery, anti-inflammation, immunity, antioxidants, which help fight free radicals and fight cancer. So those things are just super, super important. And again, why we don't really want to be eating a diet of donuts and egg whites, even though we could, right? So we're not just sticking to macros in the Nourish Project. We're like, okay, we're got the macros. Now we're going to the next level of micronutrients and how can we optimize this diet. Fiber, super, super important. Again, I want you getting fiber in every meal. It helps with digestion. It binds to fat. So as we're losing weight or doing a cut, it binds to the fat and flushes it out of the system. Also helps release toxins. It also is one of those metabolic foods that's going to increase your metabolism, and it's going to make you feel full longer. So it's a huge, amazing winner of a food. And so fiber can be found in green leafy vegetables, all vegetables, avocado, complex carbohydrates, and things like that. It's also, I will show you in a nutrition label, it's also should say on all the nutrition labels. Last thing is water, not really a micronutrient or macronutrient, but super vital for health and functioning. It also increases metabolism. It's one of those metabolic thermal effect of food category things. So by drinking water alone, it's going to raise your metabolism, but we also need it to help process protein, which we're going to be eating more of, mental clarity, and keep the body hydrated and functioning well for optimal performance. Okay, alcohol. I just want to just touch on this today. We'll go more into it, but I know people probably have questions about it. Again, we're not referring to anything as like good or bad, restricted or off the list or anything like that. It's just important to me that you understand the pros and the cons of all the different options that you have. So calories, it's 7 calories per gram. When we get into tracking, we're going to track it as either a fat or a carbohydrate, and I'll teach you how to do that. But just sort of keep that in the back of your head for now. Benefit, like we read, like Mediterranean diet, they drink red wine, right? So it may reduce the rise of coronary heart disease. The tannins in the red wine, very good for you. Also could be a stress reliever. 1 drink or 2 drinks after work could be a stress reliever. I would say there are better ways to relieve your stress, and there's better ways to get those antioxidants, but those are the pros of it. The cons, it's going to slow down your metabolism. The body interprets your the alcohol in your system as a toxin. And so it's going to be like, get this out of my system. So it's going to put all of the food on hold while it metabolizes that alcohol. Okay, how much do you need? That depends. We're going to get to that in about 2 weeks when I teach you how to calculate your macros, and that is really custom to each person. It's based on age, gender, height, weight, body type, your goals, your activities, your preferences, your history of dieting. So it's pretty complicated. I don't be overwhelmed or anything. We'll go through all of it and you'll understand all of it. But for now, just know we're going to get to that. But fiber and water are a little more simple. For women, we're going to aim for 25 grams. So for now, really just start looking at the back of that label. I mean, like, how much fiber am I getting? And just start being aware of it. Most of us are eating a lot less than that. Water, same thing, just start being aware of it. The goal is to get half your body weight in ounces. Again, most of us are not getting anywhere near that much. So just start being aware of how much you're drinking. Okay, I'm actually going to skip this until we go more into it, but actually I just want to point out, so for the nutrition facts, I want to point out one thing that I think is very surprising. It says the calories, it says the fat, carbohydrates, and the protein, and under carbs is where you're going to find fiber and sugar. So all fiber it is a breakdown of a carbohydrate, right? And so it'll tell you how much fiber is in it, how many sugars, but those don't have their own macros. The macros are just going to be listed as carbohydrates. The key thing here is that nutrition labels by law can round up or down by as much as 10% to make it look like a pretty round number. So I just told you carbs have 4 calories per gram, protein is 4 calories per gram, and fat has 9 calories per gram. So if you do the math, these labels are going to be off all the time. So what that means is if they're off by 10% and you're eating 2,000 calories, that means they could be off by 200 calories a day. 30 days in a month will be 6,000 calories. That's almost 2 pounds. 3,500 extra calories equals 1 pound. So that could be like a pound to 2 pounds a month you could be gaining because of the legally allowed misinformation in these nutrition labels. The macros are always going to be precise and right on. And that is why we are going to track the macros and not the calories. The macros, I mean, for lots of reasons, but that's another reason the macros are always going to be accurate where the calories are not. So just keep that in the back of your head. Maybe when you're getting your food ready, do that math once in a while and check that out. Okay, so the homework for this week, I want you to grab a journal. We're going to start tracking. So last week we were just working on like intentionally meal building around protein, fiber, fat, and greens. This week we're going to just start moving into practicing tracking what we're eating and then some other factors that are important for our health. So track your food, everything you eat. No one's going to be looking at this. No one's going to be judging you. If you need some accountability, you can sure send me a screenshot of it, but there will be no judgment about it. So just put down everything. There's no need to weigh or measure yet. I just want you to write down like 2 eggs, toast, veggie omelet, whatever for breakfast, coffee and creamer, just stuff like that. It's really just about practicing getting in the mindset of being aware what you're eating and tracking it, just jotting it down in a journal. Same journal for the same day. I want you to also track your water, how many ounces you're getting, your steps from any counting app, Fitbit, Apple Watch, etc. Your stress level. And so here I want you to put like 1 to 10, how's your stress level? And then explain like what happened, why was it so high, why was it so low? Same thing with your energy, 1 to 10, but then also a qualitative explanation, just sort of to reflect on what was going on that day. And then the last thing is sleep. Same thing here, number of hours of your sleep, and then a qualitative explanation. Did you stay up too late? Did you do your morning routine and your bedtime routine and you nailed it? Did you sleep like a log, or did you wake up a couple times during the night? So those are the things we're gonna be tracking: food, water, steps, stress level, energy, and sleep. It's a lot, but it should be like pretty quick, okay? When I move on to stress management, we're going to incorporate a specific meditation into your day for this week. So this is a 5-minute meditation, so shouldn't be taking up too much time. And it's in the free Insight Timer app. It's called 5-Minute Morning Practice on Gratitude. And I'll share what it looks like in the Facebook group as well. So just think about building this 5-minute practice somewhere into your morning routine. Might be first thing when you get up, might be after your workout, it might be whatever, but just like in the early part of the day. I also want you to keep walking. I know you may be like, chomping at the bit to do more workouts, and that's fine. Like, go ahead and do the workouts, but keep walking, keep tracking those steps. It really, really is a miracle drug for stress management, for insulin sensitivity, for healing your hormones, for decreasing anxiety, for increasing your mood. It's just, I cannot talk enough about how important walking is. And I know it can be hard to fit into your life. So schedule it, plan a walk with a friend, your dog, walk your kids to the park, go on a walk with your partner or your spouse. Let's figure out different fun ways to make that a part of your day. Maybe it's something that, maybe that's like your only alone time of the day, right? Or maybe it's the only time when you connect with your spouse or your partner. Whatever it is, just sort of figure out ways that work with you and keep playing around with that. Okay, mindset work we're going to do this week. So most of us, most people I talk to, most of my clients, our current state of our health is like these words: overwhelm, stress, exhaustion, not prioritizing your own health. A lot of us are like overachiever, perfectionists, use busy as a badge of honor, that I'll sleep when I die mentality, and ends up gaining and losing the same 5 to 20 pounds through diets and willpower. I know all of you signed up for this group because to some extent, this describes you, and to a very big extent, you don't want it to describe you. So really important that we work through that mindset and the stories that are bringing us to this mindset that's really pervasive in the world right now. And this is where I get super passionate. Your health needs to be your top priority. Burnout is super real, especially among professional women, especially if you're a mom, you know, that feeling that it's like selfish to take care of yourself or like guilty to take some time to yourself. It is not. You have to take care of yourself. Just like the pilot on the airplane says, put on your oxygen mask first. Right now, the world is nuts, and we need all of you to show up and shine. We need a new generation of leaders to step forward and we need to show up as our strongest, most confident, healthy, energized selves with the stamina and the energy to solve the problems and do the things that we need to do. So that's why I'm so passionate about this work and working with you women. And the homework that I have for you this week is we're going to journal through the thoughts, stories, lies that you may have been telling yourself that relate to why your health is not your top priority. So these are just sort of like a few examples that come up commonly. Like, I'll take care of myself when COVID's over, when I get a new job, when my kiddo goes to kindergarten, when, whatever, right? Maybe you think of like health as a luxury and you should be cleaning or cooking or working or something else like that. Maybe it's just guilt, like, you know, mom guilt, or that you should be working, or that so-and-so doesn't get this chance. You shouldn't either. Your mom never did, so you don't get to either. Also, maybe like earning, feeling like you need to earn acceptance and love through productivity, and you don't deserve rest. You don't deserve a day off. You don't deserve to go to bed and get that rest that you need. So I want you to sit down, take some time, just identify those stories that are bouncing around in your head. And then we're going to do the same exercise that we did last week with the barriers. So I want you to go through each one after you acknowledge them and see them, go through them again and consider, like, is this really true? Like, is your health a luxury? Like, do you need to feel guilty? Do you need to earn acceptance and love through productivity, or do you not deserve rest? And I'll tell you right now, all of those stories are lies from the devil. So I want you to like think about it and be like, no, that's a lie. Put a big X to it and then write a new thought that is true for you, and that we're going to practice thinking over and over until that becomes your new story. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about this, but it's going to be a really powerful mindset activity. Last but not least, we're going to talk about fitness quickly. I want to talk about strength training, for anyone who's starting on the strength training, and why strength training is so much more powerful than cardio, why we lead with strength training in this program, and probably most trainers that you talk to. Strength training is like the gift that keeps on giving. So it raises your metabolism for up to 72 hours as those muscles heal and recover. Whereas cardio just raises your metabolism while you're doing the actual workout. So if you have like a tracker, it may say that your cardio, spin class or elliptical burn 500 calories, but lifting you burn like 300. It's true, right? But the strength training is also going to keep burning those extra calories over the next 2 to 3 days. Not only that, but the strength training is going to build muscle. Cardio is actually going to decrease your muscle mass, and muscle mass requires more energy at rest than other tissue. So that means even when you're just sitting around, if you have a higher muscle mass, different body composition, your metabolism is going to be even more higher. Okay, so it's like an investment in like future calorie burning, future metabolism, and we want to just get that metabolism up as high as possible. Also super good for you, obviously. It reduces fatigue, anxiety, depression, strengthens bones and bone density, increases your cognitive ability, self-esteem, mood. I say it increases your confidence and swagger. I love the feeling of lifting heavy weights, throwing it down and being like, bow, I just did that. Like what, right? But like you never see anyone get off the elliptical machine and be like, yeah, what's up, elliptical? Like, no, like it's from lifting heavy things and be like, I just did that. You just feel so like strong and sexy and amazing. And then finally, strength training is going to give us that toned look. I say toned because really it just means you have muscle mass and leanness that reveals the muscle, but that toned, curvy, fit, sexy curves that we all want. So win-win, and we're going to be leading with that in this training program. Ideally, what I want all of you doing is walking every day, strength training about 4 days a week, and then doing extra like 20 minutes of cardio after strength training, like 2 times a week. That's sort of how it's going to lay out. But for now, just keep focusing on that walking and dig into those workouts if you want. Okay, so closing reminders. Start your food and balance journal, tracking your food, water, steps, stress, sleep, and energy. Still thinking about building your meals around protein, fiber, fat, and greens. Continue with your morning and evening routines and walking daily, and then incorporate that 5-minute morning meditation into your morning routine. Okay, that is all I have for you. I hope this is really helpful. As always, if you have questions, just reach out to me, either post them in the group if you think that they would apply to everyone, or if it's more private or personal, just slide right into my DMs and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have an amazing week.